Hey, thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. This should take about 5 to 10 minutes of your time, and I'm really glad you could join me today. Time's a funny thing, isn't it? For me, my story starts over 5 decades ago, and honest, I never thought I was going to be 50, so we're going back a ways. It started when I was born, the youngest daughter of 6 children. And you can imagine that you kind of get lost in the shuffle when you're one of 6. And so I kind of blended in, and I didn't really feel special all the time. And I didn't really have anything that was mine because we didn't have a lot of money and there were a lot of hand-me-downs. So it was either theirs or ours, but nothing was really mine. But I did have one thing. I had one really special thing, and it was a story. And I loved it when my mother used to read me The Velveteen Rabbit. And as she would read it to me in my little girl's heart and my little girl's mind, I knew one day someone was going to come into my life. My life. I was going to be the most important thing in their world, and they were going to love me until I was real. And in case you don't know what that means, let me share. "What is real?" asked the Velveteen Rabbit one day when he and the Skin Horse were lying side by side on the nursery floor. That's the Skin Horse and the Velveteen Rabbit. "Does it mean having things that buzz inside you or a handle that sticks out?" "Real isn't how you're made," said the Skin Horse. "It's a thing that happens to you. When a child loves you for a long, long time, not just to play with you, but really loves you, then you become real." "Does it hurt?" asked the rabbit. "Sometimes," said the Skin Horse, for he was always truthful. "But when you're real, you don't mind getting hurt." "Does it happen all at once, like being wound up?" he asked, "or bit by bit?" "It doesn't happen all at once," said the Skin Horse. "You become. It takes a long time. That's why it doesn't happen to people who break easily, or who have sharp edges, or who have to be kept carefully. Generally, by the time you are real, most of your hair has been loved off, and your eyes drop out. You get loose in the joints, and you get very shabby. But these things don't matter at all, because once you're real, you can't be ugly, except to people who don't understand. And I knew I was going to be real one day. But as life is wont to do, things happen. And we lost our father to a horrible car accident when I was 7, and we had to move, and life got in the way, and I forgot my little girl dreams, and I forgot about love until the summer of my 18th birthday, when, out of the blue and completely unexpecting it, I met a man, and he came into my life, and I knew everything I had known as a little girl came back into crystal clear focus. And we met, and we played, and we shared, and we talked. We never ran out of things to say. We played, and we grew that life, that dream that I had as a little girl. And then we bought a house, and we decorated that house exactly the way we wanted it. And we actually called it the house that love built. And my dream had come true, and I was feeling a little smug, actually. But just like in the story of the Velveteen Rabbit, when the little boy gets scarlet fever and the bunny gets bundled into a bag with all of the bed linens because they're contaminated, and he gets taken out to the woodshed to be burned, my dream came crashing down too. In the summer of my 44th year, my husband turned to me one day and said, "I think I love someone else, and I need to find out who I am." And my Humpty Dumpty heart blew apart, and I didn't think I'd ever find those pieces again. I didn't think I'd ever be able to put them back together. Actually, I thought I'd died. But I hadn't died. I had just gotten really drunk to try and make it all go away. And one spectacular night, when I was infinitely leavable and completely unlovable, I found myself embarrassingly ass over tea kettle at the bottom of my stairs in a drunken stupor. But as I was lying there, it occurred to me that I only thought I was real if someone else loved me. But what if I loved me? I could do that job. So I got myself up and I dusted off my ample ass and I headed upstairs and I tried to figure out how to love myself. Now, it's not easy when you haven't done that for a long time. And I did something I haven't ever done either. I asked for help. I asked some friends to write a list of 10 things that they admired about me, or that made them laugh, or that they just wanted to share. And every single one of them obliged me. And when I got those lists, nervous, sick to my stomach, one by one I read them. And I was humbled by what my friends had said. And I knew I was a person worth loving. So I also found out that I'm a bit of a whore for compliments. And I needed to figure out what to do with that. So I thought, here I am. I need an emergency road kit because life sometimes gives you a detour or you break down on the side of the road. And I thought I'd start with a compliments book. Because then anytime I heard a compliment or did something I was super proud of, I'd write it down. When I broke down or I hit a detour, I could go back to that book. I could read it and go, right, it's not bad. It's not all bad. So I'm not a crafty person, but I had some stick-on peel letters and I had myself a journal. And one day I got my journal and I got my stick-on letters and I was going to make the It's All Good book because everything in it was going to be good. And I started to stick my letters on it and I got the It's All Goo book and I barely had room for the D. But that made me laugh because that was the whole point, because sometimes life sends you a whole bunch of crap and it's still all goo. We do with it what we have to do with it. So I started to record my It's All Goo book. I started to look myself in the mirror every morning, naked, and say, I love you. And after a while, I started to believe it. And I took that person out there. But I'd lost the 2 most significant men in my life. Is there a chance for a third love? I got myself into online dating, and it was so bizarre and so scary that I actually had to write a book about it. And one day I hope you get to read that. I'm working on having that published. But right now, what I want to do is I want to say to you that we're all so very human. And what we want isn't money or stuff. It's love and connections. We want to be seen for the magnificent people that we really are. And I want to help you find that. It's not in a 3-step program. I can't point you at something, but I want to help you start making your emergency kit so that when you hit a snag on the road to life, you'll always remember to love yourself first. And remember, it's all goo, even you. Thanks.